Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you all. Welcome to the Impact webinar, Invigorating Southern Europe's Green Hydrogen Market, Policy Guidance and Roadshow of STAR Projects. My name's Aling Tang, Assistant Content Analyst at Leader Associates, and it's my great honor to be your host for today's session. Europe's pipeline of clean hydrogen projects is expanding and reaching a more advanced stage, with a total announced capacity of 15.7 megaton per year across 813 projects by 2030. To ensure market competitiveness, it's vital to stimulate markets across the whole continent. This webinar is a digital part of our prestigious physical gathering, Connecting Green Hydrogen Europe 2024, taking place from June 25th to 27th at IFEMA Madrid in Spain. This event unites top decision makers from all sectors of the green hydrogen value chain and offers promising insights to enhance development of clean hydrogen and accelerate sustainability efforts. Here, I would also like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our energy transition partner CIPSA, lead sponsor Smart Energy, future energy sponsor Iberdrola, sustainability partner Eden Gas Renewable, and all our sponsors and partners. Thank you so much for your support. Our webinar today will be divided into two chapters. We'll first take a look at leading markets in Southern Europe, including Spain, Italy, Bulgaria, Croatia, and Portugal, clarifying national strategies and supporting mechanisms for green hydrogen. We'll then have the opportunity to examine noteworthy STAR projects and extract invaluable experience from them. Before we start, please note that this webinar is being recorded and will be shared online. We encourage active participation in the Q&A sessions following each presentation. Now, without further ado, I'm honored to introduce our distinguished opening speaker, Ms. Sarah Perez-Diaz, Project Engineer in Renewable Hydrogen Area of IDAE, Spanish Energy Agency, to share with us Spain's strategic investment to support green hydrogen projects. Welcome, Ms. Perez. The stage is yours now.
Okay, hello, good morning, and thank you, the organization, for the invitation to do this webinar. I will be very happy to explain you the main hydrogen roadmap in Spain and the way we are supporting projects in the hydrogen sector. First of all, just a first introduction about my organization, IDAE, the Institute of Energy, Diversification and Saving. It is a public business entity under the Ministry of Ecological Transition and Demographic Challenge, and its main functions are to give technological advice and support to the ministry and other public administrations in the implementation of energy policies, management of aid programs, investment and financing innovative projects, and also promotion and dissemination of energy transition to citizens and between the public administrations. In particular, the renewable hydrogen roadmap is one of the energy strategies that we have been involved supporting the ministry, and it is what I'm going to talk to you about today. The Spanish hydrogen roadmap is focused on green hydrogen. Spain is committed with Valle renewable solutions to reach the decarbonization. In our country, we have a great renewable resource and a very low prices. So the objective is to take advantage of these lower prices and to meet the net zero emissions in the fastest way. Also, it is focusing hard to abate sector as industrial and heavy transport sector. And as a first step, the objective is to replace the grey hydrogen currently consumed in the industry sector. So there is already in Spain 500,000 tons per year of hydrogen consumption, mainly grey, used as feedstock in refineries, about 70%, and chemical manufacturers, 25%. And a last point that I want to highlight is that the objective is not only to produce and consume renewable hydrogen, but also to support all the hydrogen value chain. So just I was talking about the last point that you can see in this slide. That is that the objective is not only to produce and consume renewable hydrogen, but also to support all the hydrogen value chain, supporting technology development and production capacity. Next slide, please. Well, in this slide, you can see the two 2030 objectives. First of all, 4 gigawatts electrolyzers power installed, 100 or between 100 and 150 public hydrogen refueling stations. And in addition, there are some objectives related to the number of heavy transport vehicles and a minimum contribution of renewable hydrogen of 25% of the total hydrogen consumption in industries, both as a feedstock and as an energy carrier. This roadmap was published in October 2020, and after its publication, we had at European level the Repower EU. So in Spain, the National Integrated Energy Climate Plan is being updated in line with this European increase of ambition. So at next slide, sorry. This updated national plan increase up to 32 the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions with respect to 1990 and aims to reach at least 48% penetration of renewable energy at 2030. So this leads to increase the ambition also for renewable hydrogen with new measures and with a new objective of 11 gigawatts of electrolyzers installed at 2030. This will result also in new sectorial objectives that will increase the objectives I just mentioned you, but these new objectives are not more ambitious, are not yet published. In next slide, you can see the roadmap actions lines includes first regulatory tools that includes administrative simplification, talking about permitting, both for production and supply facilities. Also, a public interest status has been granted for both isolated and injection hydrogen pipelines that will boost these kind of projects. Boost. A renewable hydrogen guarantees of origin system has been implemented in Spain already. As sectorial tools, different funding lines for industrial decarbonization and hydrogen valleys have been developed, but I will look at this in more detail in next slides. Also, regarding mobility sector, initiative incentives for the purchase of vehicles and deployment of hydrogen refueling stations have been developed. And then some transversal tools as improving skills or just or promotion of just transition, and also to boost research and development at the hydrogen sector, specific funding lines have been deployed. Therefore, in next slide, I would like to give you some figures on the funding programs that we are managing at IDAI. All the funding instruments deployed by Spain for hydrogen sector are under the umbrella of the Spanish Recovery, Transformation and Resilience Plan. The component 9 of this plan addresses the hydrogen sector and has the aim to position Spain as a technological reference in the production and use of renewable hydrogen. It is foreseen a budget of 1,555 million euros, and it is structured along 4 lines of actions, including line 1, innovative value chain projects. It's focused on strengthening the innovation and research and increase the production capacity. At first round, 250 million euros were granted in 2023 and 2022 also. And now in 2024, we are solving a new call with a budget of 66.6 million euros. Line 2, hydrogen valleys, to support big projects with hydrogen production and consumption. The idea is to create a hydrogen ecosystem where other projects or related activities could be developed around these big projects that will be supported. Line 3, pioneer projects. This line is focused on smaller projects up to 50 megawatts of electrolyzers. The aim is to promote both production and consumption of renewable hydrogen in nearby locations. It has been a first call in 2022 and a second call in 2023 with 300 million euros awarded in total. And the last fourth line, IPCEI, is a line to promote, to support at the European level the integrated IPCEIs. Big IPCEIs integrate different projects around Europe, and Spain is part of 3 of them. But I will explain also at next slides. So next slide, please. As I explained you before, 300 million euros have been already allocated in this first program, Singular and Pioneering projects. The actions that are eligible are production with the installation of electrolyzers, but also with dedicated renewable energy plants. Distribution, storage, conditioning, and dispensing of the renewable hydrogen, including the hydrogen refueling stations, and consumption that, in line with the hydrogen roadmap, industrial uses, heavy mobility, and innovative stationary applications that we call it the applications of fuel cells, for example, for the decarbonization of ports or airports. So all these actions are eligible under this program. Next slide, sorry. You can see the main results. It has been a very successful program. More than 1,700 million euros were submitted as in different projects, and we have budget for 300 million euros, so more than 5 times of the 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 budget is submitted. Also, I would like to highlight that with this program, more than 500 megawatts of electrolyzers will be installed before 2026, and also 350 megawatts of renewable energy is also supported. In next slide, you can see the renewable hydrogen value chain program. It had a budget of 250 million euros, and the objective is boosting the know-how and productive capacity through the development of technological advance in the hydrogen value chain. There were include 4 programs. First of them, capabilities technological advance in testing and manufacturing lines. Second one, design, demonstration, and validation of new hydrogen-powered vehicles. The third line is large-scale electrolyzer demonstrators. And the fourth, basic and fundamental research challenge, innovative pilot projects and training. In next slide, you can see the main results. It was also a successful program. I want to highlight that in program 3, that is focused on bigger electrolyzers installations. Also, we had 270 megawatts of new electrolyzer that will be also installed before 2026. So in total, we have more than 700 megawatts electrolyzers power foreseen for 2026. And well, here you can see the different figures for the 4 programs. The aid is spread across 14 of the 15 autonomous communities in Spain, so has been all the territory that I supported with this program. And in the next slide, you can see the last line of support that we have implemented in Spain. This address is in line to support European integrated projects called IPCEI. Spain is participating in 3 of these IPCEIs or waves that have been called, in particular the high to tech and high to use waves that are already notified. In the first case, high to tech wave, 10% of the projects are Spanish projects, and we have already a national mechanism to support them. They have already started. And the second wave, high to use, where 20% of the projects are Spanish projects, and the mechanism at the national level is still being designed, and I hope it will be published this month or maybe next month. Also, there is a third wave, the high to move, where Spain is also participating with some projects, but this is now in a pre-notification stage. In next slide, and finally, I want to show you a new section of our website where you can find all the projects already aware by IDAE. I leave here the link so you can visit it later if you are interested. And to finish, in next slide, you can see the next steps in funding in Spain. Last summer, an addendum to the recovery plan has been approved, and there are two lines of actions to support the hydrogen sector. First, the line number 2, renewable hydrogen, uh, to promote the development of the production and use of renewable hydrogen. Here, we want to support the big Valle hydrogens projects. And then in line number 3, renewable energy and storage value chain. Here also projects is expected to support projects with new electrolyzer production plants are also expected to be supported with this line. This is for these 2 lines will be developed in 2024 and 2025. So thank you, uh, thank you very much. That's all I wanted to explain you, and I open to questions or comments if you have.
Thank you so much, Ms. Perez, for sharing such a wonderful speech about Spain's hydrogen roadmap and funding programs. Now let's check some questions raised by our audience. The first question is, what is the upcoming plan for granting subsidies related to hydrogen projects in Spain, and what public grants are anticipated for this year? And also, as is more detailed stated as for one of our audience, when will the third round of Pioneeros be available? And what will happen with the projects awarded in the first and second round that do not meet the deadlines fixed by the program?
Well, so regarding the first question, next funding lines that is foreseen in 2024 is, as I told you, the big hydrogen valleys. Sorry. Hydrogen valleys, the big programs of production and consumption of hydrogen, renewable hydrogen. And now we are notifying it to the European Commission. We are in the processing of the notification. So we hope, well, for sure it will be ready this year, and we hope it will be ready the first six semester of the year. Also, the third wave, high to move of IPCEI programs is expected to be developed this year. Now talking also about the second question, Also, maybe a third call for pioneering, singular and pioneering program is expected to be developed this year, 2024. And about the projects of first and second call of pioneering projects that will not met the project timeline, at the call we group review the a 6 month of program, 6 months longer projects, but later on that the projects they'll have to finish on this time. They cannot be longer time for them.
Thank you for your detailed answers, and thank you so much for joining us today. And
Thank you.
now let's move on to our next keynote brought by Mr. Fabrizio Penna, Head of PNRR Department of the Italian Ministry of the Environment and Energy Security. Mr. Penna will share about Italy's goals and national incentives supporting green hydrogen. Welcome, Mr. Penna. The floor is yours.
Welcome. Welcome, everybody, and thank you, Leader Associates Impact, for this invitation. As you are said, I am the head of the department of the PNRR of the Italian Ministry of Environment and Energy Security. So I have a little presentation for you, but I don't follow strictly the picture, and I want to say with you some reflection, some subjects. Across the world, our life changes and individuals' opportunities to improve their quality of life are being threatened by conflicts and climate change. Supporting the development of technologies and the perception that they can mitigate or solve the current problems must become a top priority. Hydrogen is one such technology. Recently, the EU has embarked on the important mission to decarbonize its economy and develop a sustainable emission-free model of a society. With the Green Deal started after the COVID-19 pandemic and strengthened after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the European Union has produced the tools that can shape a climate-friendly future. One of these tools is the National Recovery and Resilience Plan, with the addition of the REPowerEU chapter. In this context, it's important to underline that the EU is not alone. In the world, many countries are striving to be champions of the decarbonization. While adopted timelines are longer than ours, we should not doubt their determination to achieve their goals. We need to bear in mind that global competition and even our own European ambition to achieve climate neutrality by 2050 is closer than we think. There is only one generation to go before 2050. Hydrogen is one of the vectors of this necessary change, contributing with the 20% of the final energy demand by 2050. In this picture, you can see the most important measure of Italy. We have a framework of current and expected hydrogen promotion measures. We are implemented the use of hydrogen in hard-to-abate sectors with the plane, in the abandoned sites with the hydrogen valleys program of the plane, but also hydrogen testing for rail transport or for road transport, we have other measures. Important measures is the reform of the authorization system for hydrogen production plants. Italy will be growth in the timing of permitting. And we also are investing in hydrogen research and development. And with the Repower EU chapter of the plan, mission number 7, we have a scale up of the measures of hydrogen valleys with additional fund and the scale up. So hydrogen can transform industries and thus drastically reduce their CO2 emissions. It can revolutionize air, maritime, and road transportation. It can store variable renewable electricity and bring stability and flexibility to an electricity grid transport. And it can help with heating and cooling buildings without carbon emissions. Hydrogen is not a miracle molecule, but it can do what electricity can't, and it is therefore complementary to a renewables-based energy system. You can see in this picture strictly the number of the investment in the plan. We are investing 3 billion euro from the RRP funds, 100 million euro for the production chain hydrogen, 100 million for the electrolyzers research, and over 50 million on the research project, and 500 million on hydrogen valleys. Then, last but not least, 2 billion euro in hard-to-abate areas, particularly steel industry. So, furthermore, Europe can position itself as a global lead, doing good not only for climate and economic sustainability, but also for European research and industrial development. Europe has a tremendous potential for hydrogen regarding both its production and the use. For our own production and for imports, we need to adopt regulations which fit into global trends. Our regulation must correspond to the needs of the European industry and provide planning security to off-takers. We want Europe to inspire and lead this transformation, this hydrogen revolution. Develop a strong manufacturing base in Europe for hydrogen technologies and their components will help break the critical dependency, release investments, and boost market access approaches. Now in this picture, sorry for the Italian language, you can see the goals of the Italian strategy, and you can see the theme of the Italian national strategy for hydrogen with the institution, Ministry of Infrastructures and Transport, Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of the Industry and Made in Italy, Ministry of the Culture, and the Department of European Affairs. And you can see also the many stakeholders which are working with us for this strategy. The most player of energy industry. Enel, Eni, Snam, Terna, Enea, Confindustria Energia, Arera, GSA, and many more. We have a deadline, is July 21 of this year, for the goals of this strategy. And we are working also with a big plan of investment, which Italy see to the Africa, because Italy can and want to be a hub on the Mediterranean Sea, and particularly with Africa for hydrogen grid. We have a strategic vision to guarantee energy supply, promote international cooperation. There is now and will be a system of 5 gas pipelines from Africa, Israel, and Azerbaijan. And we are working for agreement to increase gas supplies from Algeria. And the address of Italy is versus the needs of the present, without meaning for postponing the horizon of climate neutrality. But we are working with the boots on the ground. This is a map of the hydrogen valleys, most important measure of the plane. You can see the repartition of the regional country, the most regional country with a number important of hydrogen valleys, Puglia in the south of Italy, with 50 hydrogen power products by the electrolyzers in this territory. And this is another example of investment, the South HU Corridor, an infrastructure project to transport renewable hydrogen for over kilometers from North Africa through Italy, Austria, and Germany. Then we also can see that we want to create a friendly regulatory framework for all clean hydrogen production technologies that are aligned with the 2050 climate neutral strategy of the EU, and it would represent a pragmatic choice. Create a level playing field for hydrogen technologies in mobility applications through the EU legislation and the specific windows of the Innovation Fund. Accelerate deployment of renewables, enabling large production of reliable and competitive hydrogen and derivatives in Europe, laying the pathway towards 2040 climate framework. The European Commission should establish a European hydrogen grid strategy, setting clear goals, accelerating the rollout of PCI, the projects of common interest, and contributing to the removal of existing barriers and unlocking EU funding. The EU should help create the European network of hydrogen operators as soon as possible to lead the development of hydrogen network development plan, coordinate national efforts, and closely cooperate with the electricity and natural gas infrastructure operators. The EU should develop a comprehensive storage strategy, such as a strategy how to identify the flexibility needs for short and long-term periods, ensure complementary storage solution, such as batteries, hydro, pump, power, and underground hydrogen storage, are all developed on time and at the volumes required. A new target for underground hydrogen storage should be set along with a very clear legislative framework. And that's it. I thank you, Leaders Associates, for this important moment of dialogue with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your enlightening speech on Italy's hydrogen strategy and how the National Fund would step in and help its development, and also the progress of South H2 corridor. And here we've got some questions from our audience. The first one is, what advantages does Italy possess in terms of green hydrogen policies or market in comparison to other countries in Southern Europe?
So, thank you. But Italy, as we say today, strongly believes in the development of green hydrogen. Now the green hydrogen is very expensive. We have different lines of investment. We have institutions open to companies, to all companies of the world that want to invest in Italy. We have a plan to develop applied research. And last, do you know that geographically, we are a hub on the Mediterranean Sea, and we are and we want to be a logistical gateway to the Africa continent.
I think with a well-structured plan, like you stated, it's excited to anticipate what's going to happen next in this market. Thank you so much again for joining us. And now let's shift our attention to the next country. Please join me and welcome Ms. Mira Yosifova, Director of Policy and Analysis Directorate at Bulgarian Ministry of Innovation and Growth, to share with us Bulgaria's national roadmap for green hydrogen development. Welcome, Ms. Yosifova. Welcome on stage.
Thank you. Good morning. Could you please share my slides? Potential of hydrogen technologies and decarbonization measures through the production and consumption of clean hydrogen still occupied a modest place in existing national strategy documents in Bulgaria. And the reasons include the lack of accumulated data and analysis over the last decade accompanying the gradual development in this sector, as well as the ongoing complex work at the European level regarding the regulatory environment of this sector. A national roadmap was indeed needed to create the increased awareness, set expectations for the development of the sector, and outline a path for the phased introduction and implementation of hydrogen technologies and use in Bulgaria. The development of the hydrogen roadmap is set as a reform in the National Recovery and Resilience Plan, and the reform is a key prerequisite for meeting the goals of the Green Pact and decarbonizing the economy, given the potential of hydrogen to replace the fossil energy sources in the economy of the future. So, an important functionality of this document is that it will remain open to periodic update, given the dynamics of the sector and the need to improve the framework continuously and incrementally, as well as creating a regulatory framework where one is lacking. Next slide, please. The roadmap was developed in line with the UN Sustainable SDGs. Next slide, please. The roadmap was developed in line with the UN SDGs, the European Commission's priorities, the EU Green Pact, Fit for 55, the Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda, and the European Commission's Horizon Europe Framework Program. On national level, the roadmap is consistent with our overall national strategic document, the National Program for Development Bulgaria 2030, and the National Innovation Strategy for Smart Specialization for the period 2021-2027. Bulgaria will promote the development and use of hydrogen technologies to advance the climate goals, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, stimulate the transitions to a higher and more efficient use of renewable energy sources, and to a circular economy. That is the vision of the roadmap. The national roadmap for improving the conditions for unlocking the potential of hydrogen takes into account the specificities of the Bulgarian economy for a balanced and equitable transition. And the transformation towards climate neutrality is a dynamic and complex process. Therefore, our country should use best practices to benefit and support the Bulgarian society and economy. The document has two strategic objectives, as you can see. The first one is using hydrogen to decarbonize the economy and as an alternative to other energy sources. And the second one is to build capacity to exploit the potential of hydrogen technologies. Next slide, please. The roadmap defines several operational objectives for the development and exploitation of the potential of hydrogen technologies, which are synergistic with the European policies for the commercialization of hydrogen technologies, as well as with Bulgaria's needs, interests, and capabilities for a stable and efficient transition to ensure its carbon neutrality by 2050. Operational goals are, as you can see, to promote the consistent and effective deployment of the technologies for the production, transport, and use of green hydrogen in industry, energy, and transport, to intensify research and innovation in the field, to create conditions for education and training for new professions and jobs, and for informed consumer and administrative environment related to hydrogen technology. And the last one, to stimulate European and international cooperation in the field of hydrogen deployment. Next slide, please. The timeline of the national roadmap is until 2026, with a number of activities foreseen for this period. The key activities relate to amendments to the legislative provision to be made by the competent institutions, since hydrogen is a horizontal policy in Bulgaria. The amendments will remove the key barriers identified in the roadmap to the development of green hydrogen technology and implement measures necessary for the development of the entire green hydrogen value chain in the country. I should mention here that one of Bulgaria's main goals is to be among the first 20 countries in the world with a working hydrogen valley, the construction of which will be co-funded by the European Commission and the Ministry of Innovation and Growth through the institution's Research and Innovation Development Program. Next slide, please. In addition to these key legislative, several measures are included in the implementation of the roadmap itself, as you can see. The deadline is 2026, and some of the measures include the development of a guide for building hydrogen projects in different sectors, establishing quotas to replace the use of gray hydrogen with green hydrogen, the assessment of Bulgaria's potential as a producer and explorer of green hydrogen. You can see analysis of prospects, benefits, and costs, and the preparation of a plan for the future of Bulgaria's gas transition and distribution system. Of course, skills development through training graduates and stimulating research innovations, and a few other more measures are included in our national roadmap. Next slide, please. And of course, like any strategic document, to have confidence in its implementation, we have set in the map a monitoring mechanism. It consists of a coordination mechanism established in the Ministry of Innovation and Growth, which consists of two separate working groups, two separate bodies. The first one, the overall one, is the coordinating body under the Ministry of Innovation and Growth for the implementation of the regional roadmap. The coordinating body is composed of representatives of the relevant ministries and will coordinate and ensure implementation, and set the necessary adjustments in the terms of achieving the targets. And we have a second body, which is a hydrogen task force, which includes experts in the field of hydrogen from the country and abroad. It exercises ongoing control and monitoring of changes in regulations and program funding at national and European level, and informs in a timely manner about deviations and or implementation difficulties that require changes in the roadmap concept. Next slide, please. And of course, it always comes down to money. In the coming years, Bulgaria can mobilize resources up to 3.2 billion euro under various programs and projects, including private investments for green economy activities that include promoting the use of potential of hydrogen technologies. Funding will come from various sources like the two programs which the Ministry of Innovation and Growth operates. These are the Enterprise Competitiveness and Innovation Program and the Research, Innovation and Digitalization for Smart Transformation Program, which is the program for research and innovation. We have another one with Economic Transformation Program, which is implemented through our Recovery and Resilience Plan. And then we will use the funds for the Just Transition Fund, the territorial plans for Just Transition, and national budgets, of course. So this is the gist of our roadmap. Thank you for your attention. And on the next slide, you can see the website of the Ministry of Innovation and Growth, as well as the contact of email if you need more information on our site. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your informative speech, Ms. Yosifova. And let's take a look at some questions. The first question is, what are the main projects of green hydrogen that are already planned for the following years in Bulgaria?
Yes, thank you. As I mentioned earlier, Bulgaria aspires to be to have one of the first hydrogen valleys in the world. A key project for this is the so-called Zagora Sustainable Hydrogen Region, or Zahir project. It has been submitted under the Clean Hydrogen Joint Undertaking calls through the Horizon Europe program, and is seen as one of the first elements to promote a hydrogen-based economy in Bulgaria. It consists of companies and representatives of the scientific communities. Zahir will install and demonstrate two electrolyzers, sorry, it's a hard word, with combined installed powers of 5 megawatts to be run on green electricity in a new 20 megawatts power plant. The hydrogen produced will be used in the various transport and energy applications, which includes the installation of 2 hydrogen refueling stations in the city that will service a fleet of 10 city buses, 2 heavy transport trucks, and 2 light-duty vehicles. A biofuel gas turbine will be installed, in which blending the limits between hydrogen and natural gas will be tested. And there will be a 1 megawatt fuel cell that will provide the municipalities, Stara Zagora municipality, public lighting. Another project is for the production and use of green hydrogen for the technological needs in the facilities of the underground storage Chiren, the national underground gas storage. The project foresees the preparation of a pilot study with several options for plant and equipment capacity, mixing ratios, and other characteristics. So the green hydrogen that will be used for the process and purposes as a fuel on the site, and is not planned to be supplied to third parties. But the national company Bulgartransgaz is planning projects, projects for the development of the future hydrogen network in Bulgaria. The first phase of the infrastructure project for the transmission of pure hydrogen in Bulgaria is the construction of a 250-kilometer pipeline from Sofia to the Bulgarian-Greek border.
Thank you very much for your detailed answer. And I think it's quite instructive, and your speech definitely offers hope for the market and hard-to-abate sectors in Bulgaria. Thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you.
And following Bulgaria's journey, let's turn to Croatia's vision for green hydrogen leading to 2050 and take a look at how it's going to decarbonize its national economy. Now let's welcome Mr. Vyacheslav Jukic, Head of Sector for Energy Policy and Planning at Croatian Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development. Welcome, Mr. Jukic.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here. Okay, so it's great pleasure to be here. My name is Vyacheslav Jukic. I'm from Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development in Croatia. And I need to highlight first that Croatia is firmly committed to the green transition and climate neutrality. And we see the hydrogen as one of the tools for this green transition. But also we are very focused on the decarbonization of the energy sector. And as we have the great potential in renewable energy sources, our goal is to have more than 2,500 new megawatts of renewable energy sources till 2028. Also, we want to, most of that will be in wind and solar, but we want to extend our goals or our projects beyond wind and solar. So we also have the great potential in geothermal energy. It's also crucial for maximizing Croatia's energy capacities because this is 24/7 renewable energy. This is the first step for production of low carbon or renewable hydrogen. And in that sense, Croatia in March 2022 adopted the Croatian hydrogen strategy. And it was important strategic document that could show how we will develop hydrogen strategy in Croatia and our national vision of development of this hydrogen economy, because we don't have it yet. We only have production of gray hydrogen. So our main goal is to develop hydrogen economy based on low carbon hydrogen. The strategy covers all segments of the hydrogen value chain, from production to storage and distribution, usage of hydrogen, but also education, innovation, and research in all sectors. And it's also could be seen as the strong signal for the private investments in the hydrogen economy in Croatia. When we talk about the production of hydrogen, as I show on the first slide, we have the great potential for new renewable energy sources. But we also would like to see the low carbon hydrogen productions, especially based on the possible pyrolysis of waste or sludge. But also, and as I said, this is potentially development of the new technologies. We as a country have the problems regarding, not problems, but we had a lot of sludge. So basically, we would like to transport that sludge to the hydrogen. Also, as I said, we have a lot of RES. So basically, we want to boost the share of RES by producing the green hydrogen or renewable hydrogen as one of the potential for usage of that renewable energy sources. We also see the potential in the storaging of the hydrogen as the long-term storaging for using existing infrastructure of hydrogen, but also we see it as a short-term possibilities because we have the problems with the grid or transport electricity from the southern part of Croatia, where the most of the wind and solar production will be based, to the northern part of Croatia and the rest of the Europe. So basically, partly that energy could be shortly stored as a hydrogen, or as can be transformed to the hydrogen to be used as a hydrogen in the transport sector, for example. And also that hydrogen will be transported over the trails, by the trails or by the pipelines that will be built in Croatia. Regarding the use of hydrogen, we also have the potential projects. Most matured projects is probably in the transport sector. And we want to see the hydrogen vehicles, especially heavy-duty vehicles, and especially city transport vehicles propelled by the hydrogen. But also we have potential to use hydrogen in the industrial processes, especially in hard-to-abate industry, as glass industry, as brick industry, but also as a raw material in petrochemical industry and refineries. And we see the hydrogen as the potential energy storage and a tool for electricity system stabilization, potentially. As I said, the transport sector in Croatia is mostly mature. So we have the sector with the high CO2 emissions. And also it's shown that in last few years, this sector, the emissions in the transport sector in Croatia is growing. So basically we need to do something. And so we see the possibility to boost the hydrogen in the public urban transport, and maybe potentially in the also waste sector and other activities in the urban area. It will reduce the CO2 emission, but also it will reduce the noise emissions. So basically, it's a win-and-win situation regarding the urban transport. To do that, we need to boost the development of infrastructure for the usage of hydrogen in the transport sector. So our goal is to have 10 to 15 charging station, hydrogen refueling stations network till 2026, 2028, let's say. But 10 will be till 2026. Also, we need to secure all other parts of the hydrogen value chain. So basically, we need to secure production of hydrogen, distribution of that hydrogen, same as these hydrogen refueling stations. Other topic that is extremely important in Croatia, and it's highlighted in the hydrogen strategies, education, research, and development. We need that we need to develop the new educational programs. We also need to develop the concept of lifelong learning for the usage of hydrogen, but we also need to raise awareness regarding the usage or implementation of new hydrogen technologies in all sectors. We also want to connect the innovative products and services to ensure the commercialization and the wider deployment of the hydrogen technologies. And as I said, we see potential in the Croatian universities to boost this educational program, to boost the lifelong learning, but also to boost the research activities and connection with the Croatian economy. One important project that it's important to need to highlight is North Adriatic Hydrogen Valley. So we put in Croatian hydrogen strategy importance also of regional cooperation, and this is the good example of regional cooperation, because North Adriatic Hydrogen Valley is project that involves Slovenia, Croatia, and Italian Autonomous Region Friuli Venezia Giulia. It's transnational projects dedicated to the development of hydrogen economies in Slovenia, Croatia, and Friuli Venezia Giulia. Also, it will coordinate international activities important to boost the hydrogen economy within the EU. We got the 25 million euros grant from Clean Hydrogen Partnership for these projects. It officially started from 1st December 2023. It has 37 partners, and it's 72 months or 6 years last project. Also, we want to develop environmentally friendly hydrogen production technologies within this project, but also we want to establish the future institution, North Adriatic Hydrogen Valley, that will collect more other projects, but also the institutional partners and access to finance partners to be to put the entire value chain for this hydrogen valley. And we want that Slovenia, Croatia, and Friuli, Venezia, Giulia would be recognized as an important hydrogen spot in the EU and also worldwide. To fulfill that, we also allocate some money in the Croatia for the hydrogen, for the development of hydrogen economy, mostly in recovery and resilience plan, but also we have European Regional Development Fund allocation. So in RRF, we have 88.5 million euros, and it's devoted to construction of first electrolyzers in Croatia. It will be done in INA in Rijeka refinery, but also we want to establish, as I mentioned, 11 hydrogen refueling stations, mostly for road, but also for rail and maritime center, because we want to decarbonize the rail transport by retrofitting the locomotives from diesel to hydrogen. Also, as I mentioned, we have ERDF allocation for 21.5 million euros. It is devoted to new electrolyzer capacities and additionally for hydrogen refueling station in Croatia for the road transport. We also have the possibility, because we're using the modernization fund to finance some projects from hydrogen till 2030, also from modernization fund. So to conclude, Croatia is fully committed to the green transition, and hydrogen will play important role in that transition, and we find it as an important tool for reduction of CO2 emissions in Croatia. But also, as I mentioned, we think that you need to boost the research, development, and innovation all over the hydrogen value chain to better use that hydrogen in the future and to prove that the hydrogen will be one important energy carrier, let's say, that could be produced and maintained and used in EU. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing with us Croatia's journey. And now let's check out some questions. So one of our audience asked about the definition of low carbon hydrogen. Are there any criteria for what low carbon hydrogen means? Do you differentiate from green hydrogen? And also, as you've mentioned in your slides, the transport of hydrogen. So I'm also wondering, are there any existing plans or solutions for the infrastructure required for green hydrogen distribution?
Well, EU promotes renewable hydrogen, and that is important, and mostly will be also in Croatia, the most of the hydrogen will be renewable. But as I mentioned, we have some potential. It's still in research and development phase, but we would like to see the maybe pyrolysis from the sludge, from the waste, as also some potential low carbon hydrogen that can be used to boosting hydrogen economy. Regarding the low carbon hydrogen within the Croatian strategy, we define it as the hydrogen with the low CO2 or non-CO2 emissions. So basically, but there is no firm definition in the hydrogen strategy, and you know that now on the EU level there is also discussions regarding what kind of low carbon hydrogen could be accepted and what kind of technologies can be used to produce the low carbon hydrogen. So we just want to highlight that we find low carbon hydrogen same important as the renewable hydrogen, at least for the first decade, to boost the hydrogen economy within the EU. And regarding the transport infrastructure, let's say, we now decided that, well, we have the LNG terminal on the Kirk Island, and we decided that we'll expand that LNG terminal, but also we need to expand the pipelines towards Slovenia and Hungary. And all these pipelines will be hydrogen ready and could be the future part of backbone of hydrogen transport infrastructure within the EU. But concrete now, we don't have any projects that could transport or pipelines that could transport hydrogen from one point to other. And mostly these hydrogen fueling stations that we plan to build as a first step of the hydrogen economy in Croatia will be distribution will be by the trailers, most probably at the beginning, and on the side production if it will be possible.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your answer. And it's nice to hear about your insights and also the progresses of the North Adriatic Hydrogen Valley in your speech. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
And now let's move on to the last chapter of our policy guidance. Please join me and welcome Mr. Ricardo Ferreira, Data and Energy Policy Analyst of Policies and Market Intelligence at IPREN, the Portuguese Renewable Energy Association, to share Portugal's 2030 hydrogen roadmap. Welcome, Mr. Ferreira.
Hello, thank you. So thank you for the invite. My name is Ricardo Ferreira, and I'm here today to talk about Portugal's hydrogen roadmap for 2030 and to explain why Portugal is setting to be one of Europe's main green hydrogen producers. My presentation will be divided in 3 parts. I'll talk about the renewable energy sources and potential, targets for the green hydrogen, and actions already taken to accomplish those targets. Just firstly, a few words about APREN. APREN is the Portuguese Renewable Energy Association, and our mission is to promote the implementation of renewable energy technologies for electricity production, support and collaborate with policymakers and government entities to create a sustainable and cost-efficient strategy for the sector, and to inform and publicize the importance of Portuguese endogenous energy resources. With this in mind, we work closely with policymakers, European associations, stakeholders, academy, and citizens. We represent around 86% of all renewable installed capacity in Portugal. This includes more than 90% of the installed capacity in 4 different technologies, and 39 and 51% of biomass and solar, respectively. So, why does Portugal has the potential to be one of the main green hydrogen producers? In Portugal, it only makes sense to talk about green hydrogen. Therefore, we have to have renewable energy production. Here we can see the national electricity production mix in last year, 2023, where we had 70.6% of renewable incorporation, the highest so far for our country. And this came mostly from hydro and wind. Then 23% came from fossil production, mainly from natural gas. Here is worth mentioning that Portugal stopped using coal in 2021. And 6% came from pumped storage. In total, 45.9 terawatt-hour were produced in Portugal, and we saved a few emissions, 9.7 megatons of CO2 emissions, and then some million euro savings in natural gas imports, electricity, and CO2 licenses. Regarding the installed capacity, we can see that the installed renewable capacity almost tripled in the last 24 years. You can also see the increase of wind from 2004 and the accentuated increase in solar capacity in the last 5 years. So we've seen the evolution of the sector. Now, what about the future? Our National Energy Climate Plan was updated in last year, 2023. The National Energy Climate Plan establishes the targets for 2030, and it was reviewed last year, as I said. The values you see here in this column are from the previous version, and our government set new targets last year, way more ambitious. We can see the main differences in offshore wind for 2 gigawatts, PV for 20.4 gigawatts of a target, where 15 gigawatts are from large scale and 5 from small scale. And the main one with these two connected, the main one difference is the electrolyzers. Our NECP already includes 5.5 gigawatts of target until 2030, and the 100 terawatt hour of demand you see there, doubling our demand from last year, already includes the consumption needed for the electrolyzers, and the capacity here already includes the capacity needed for the electrolyzers as well. Previous to that, the Portuguese government presented in 2020 the National Hydrogen Plan that established the green hydrogen incorporation target until 2030. Here we can see the green hydrogen incorporation of 5% in the final energy consumption, road transport and industry sectors, and 15% of green hydrogen incorporation in the natural gas network. These targets were considering taking into account the renewable energy technologies with competitive costs in Portugal, the guarantee of origin scheme in operation, the strategic geographical location, and the engineering know-how and excellency. All of these are here in Portugal right now. Just one note: the national hydrogen plan is being revised, considering the NECP presented previously. So we are waiting for an updated values for these targets. What has been done already? The government also announced in the Recovery and Resilience Plan 185 million euros of support for green hydrogen and other renewable gases. And in 2023, 25 projects received more than 102 million euros from the RRP, being 21 projects of green hydrogen and 4 of green biomethane. In total, those 25 projects represent an investment of over 230 million euros and 100 megawatt of electrolyzers. Here on the right, we can see the supported projects, with the highest investment being made in Sines, Castelo Branco, and Alenquer. When considering all the announced projects, there are more than 1 gigawatt of electrolyzers to install or being installed right now. Here is worth mentioning 2 national hubs where green hydrogen will be produced and also consumed, here in Sines in the south, and here in Estarreja in Aveiro, more in the north. In 2022, the Portuguese government announced the first green hydrogen auction to take place in 2024. This was going to happen last year, but our government changed last year or this year, but due to some unfortunate events, this was postponed to this year. The auction will be for the production of 250 gigawatt hour per year of biomethane and 120 gigawatt hour per year of hydrogen. The maximum price paid by the last resource supplier, this means the maximum cost that the maximum price for the biomethane will be 62 euros per megawatt hour, and for the green hydrogen 127 euros per megawatt hour. All the contracts will have a duration of 10 years with the producers. Regarding the green hydrogen costs, here we can see the studies from Hydrogen Europe. Data points, firstly on the left, Portugal as the country with the lowest LCOH in 2022 in Europe. This is when considering directly connected lowest cost renewable energy source technology. For Portugal, that is PV, and we see a value of 5.2 euros per kilogram, as I said, being the lowest value for Europe. Then on the right, we can see the LCOH evolution and prediction until 2024 or 2025, depending on the countries. And for Portugal, we can see here 2.9 euro per kilogram of hydrogen produced in 2024, and that is also the lowest value for all Europe. Just in conclusion, Portugal has the natural resources, the high renewable energy development, the legal framework, and the ambition needed to be one of the main green hydrogen producers in Europe and in the world. And that was my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fahira, for your instructive sharing. And now let's see some questions from the audience. The question for you is, what is the most significant opportunity for Portuguese investors to accelerate the growth of green hydrogen economy?
Okay. Well, with Portugal's renewable energy production potential associated with our targets and measures to accomplish them, we will have, as I presented, one of the lowest LCOH by 2030, and this is associated with low electricity price due to the development of the sector. So Portugal has not only the resource potential, but also the ambition and the regulatory framework to accomplish the targets defined.
Thank you. Thank you so much for a detailed answer. And it's glad to have the updates of Portuguese green hydrogen market and your national plan. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for the invitation.
And now we've come to the second part of our webinar, Roadshow of Star Projects. Please join me and welcome Mr. Pedro Casalino Diaz, Head of Commercial of Fusion Fuel, with his speech on their Trailblazing 630 megawatts project in Portugal. Welcome, Mr. Casalino. The stage is yours.
Okay, so thank you very much for the opportunity of presenting our project here in this webinar. My name is Pedro Casalino. I'm head of Portugal of Fusion Fuel, and I'm not sure how much you are aware of what is IPCEI. IPCEI means important projects of common European interest. It means that are special projects that the European Union or the European Commission considers that follow the most strategic economic targets of the European Union, and also that contribute strongly to integrate the countries and the strategy through their strategic targets and missions and commitments. Okay, so one of the easiest way to understand what is an IPCEI is the most recent project to integrate Germany and France through a pipeline. Okay, that starts in one country and ends in the other. It's common because it belongs to both. It integrates. It decreases the dependence on others. And it makes and then strengthens the integration of the two countries, so the European Union. On our case, it's a different thing. On the Portuguese project, it's a different thing. I will go deeper on this later, but it's this, not integrated by a pipe between France and Germany, but the integration is between the sea. So it's between our port of Sines and the port of Rotterdam. Okay, so coming back to this, in this wave, the third wave of this IPCEI, which is an IPCEI called H2 Infra, which is 100% dedicated to 100% dedicated to hydrogen. I'm sorry because my father was calling me. I had to disconnect this. To hydrogen. This IPCEI had 3 or 4 different verticals, 4 different axes. Okay, one was to support the production of electrolyzers, and the IPCEI supported the installation of 3.2 gigawatts of large-scale electrolyzers. The other one was to support hydrogen transmission and distribution pipelines. So the IPCEI supported 2.7 kilometers of these transmission and distribution pipelines. The other was to support large-scale hydrogen storage facilities. 370 gigawatt-hour of storage capacity was supported by the IPCEI, and finally, the support for handling terminals and related port infrastructures for liquid organic hydrogen carriers, which is one of the most efficient ones. And the IPCEI supported the storage, the handling terminals for more than 6,000 tons of hydrogen per year. Okay, our project developed by Fusion Fuel in Sines will be developed in Sines It will be called Sines Green Hydrogen Valle, and will consist on the installation of 630 megawatts of green hydrogen production, of a green hydrogen production plant. And this project will represent 11.5% of the Portuguese national hydrogen strategy, which aims to install, as Ferreira was saying in the last presentation, 5.5 gigawatts by 2030. This project will be able to produce 62,000 tons of green hydrogen, will avoid 600,000 tons of CO2 per year, which means about 13 million CO2 along the lifetime of the project. And this avoidance is considering the direct substitution of hydrogen, of the gray hydrogen produced from steam methane reforming from natural gas. The green hydrogen produced will be mainly targeted for the port of Netherlands and the decarbonization of several local industries in Portugal. 40% of all the green hydrogen produced will be converted in ammonia and exported to Rotterdam, creating a kind of a pendular movement and a total integration between the two of them. It's important to understand that Rotterdam is one of the most important ports in Europe, but it's completely overloaded with no space, and it's not the ideal location to produce green hydrogen because there is not enough sun hours and maybe some wind, but in the end the decarbonization depends on green energy, and it makes much more sense to produce it in the south of Europe, in this case in the south of Portugal, with strong sun hours, a lot of wind in the Atlantic coast. And as Ricardo was saying in the presentation before, Ricardo Ferreira, we can achieve here much lower levelized cost of hydrogen than in the middle and the north of Europe due to this. So we have space, cheaper space, much better conditions to produce renewable energy, and then we can create this pendular relation between the port of Sines and the port of Rotterdam. So this is exactly the goal of the IPCEI projects, to connect, to make this integration. Our project of producing 630 megawatts will use two types of energy sourcing. First, we have already in development, in advanced stage of development, about 160 megawatts of local wind and solar power plants at a distance of about 10 kilometers from our power plant. It will be a self-consumption according to the Portuguese legislation, and also we will request to achieve a higher load factor, the higher use in the days and the hours where there is no sun or no wind, to use the grid, and according to because of the legislation, we need to do that to be green, to consider it green, to match the hourly requirements between energy production and energy consumption. Okay, I don't know what you know about Fusion Fuel. It's not the most important. We're talking about the project, but Fusion Fuel is a pure play hydrogen solutions company focused on projects in Europe and North America. We went public in late 2020. We have two manufacturing facilities in Lisbon, mainly one in Benavente, with a targeted maximum capacity of production of 500 megawatts per year, and we produce a European electrolyzer, which is kind of revolutionary, which is this one. Okay, this container of 40 feet has 2 megawatts, but is composed of sets of these cabinets here that you see, okay, connected in series, and each of these cabinet contains 36 of these very small PEM electrolyzers. So we can make extremely big power plant hydrogen plants, but we can make them also extremely small, so adapt exactly to the power that we have. With this kind of flexibility and modularity, we can move our electrolyzers directly to the power and not the opposite, and we can very easily adapt to projects for self-consumption. So this project will be opportunity not only for the IPCEI to connect the port of Sines and the port of Rotterdam, but will also be a possibility to develop and to demonstrate this flexibility of this European technology produced in Portugal. In terms of timeline, the project has 3 phases. The first phase is already, we are in a strong phase of the development for the first phase, which will be ready end this year, mid next year, of 10 megawatts. The second phase will be until the end of 2025 is for additional 90 megawatts. And the third phase, now that we was a little bit dependent on this IPCEI being awarded or not, but will be able to produce up to 600 and to install up to 630 megawatts of installed capacity, and will be ready until end 2028. The total capex for the project, not including energy sourcing, because if we put here energy sourcing, it will be up to 2.6 billion, but this is another thing. For the electrolyzing part, it's 653 million euros. I don't know if you know what you know about the IPCEI rules, but the IPCEI rules, if you have a stamp of IPCEI, you can accumulate different supports from the European Union. So you can at the same time apply to one specific program of PRR, and then to another program, and then to innovation fund, until you fulfill 100% of the funding gap. Okay. So for now, at this moment, we already have received on the first phase 10 million, on the second phase 22.5 million. With this third phase, the Portuguese government is allowed to subsidize the project until up to 196 million euros. Okay, with no need for authorization from the European Commission, and we expect to go on proceed for the remaining funds, applying also for Innovation Fund, which is a strong possibility because Innovation Fund is extremely selective, but also IPCEI is extremely selective in the selection, in the due diligence they made. So with this kind of stamp, we are strongly we strongly believe that we will be awarded at least for one Innovation Fund. And also we will with this stamp, we will apply for some debt in the European investment debt. Up to the moment, we are close of achieving with these types of supports our targeted LCOH of 2.4 euros per kilo, which is even less than what Ricardo was saying in his presentation, because it's easy to understand because we already have some supports. Why Sines? It's important to understand Sines. Sines is an port in development. Okay, so if you see, I don't see if you see the mouse here. This is Sines. Okay, close to the sea. In blue and in green, this is a pipe which is in development. Will start starting the construction this year, and will be finished end next year. This is a pipe, circular pipe, not circular, but connected, close connected pipe, which is able to handle 100% of hydrogen. Okay, so this pipe, which is inside the industrial and logistical zone of Sines and the port, this pipe, the goal of this pipe is to connect all the producers of green hydrogen and all the consumers of green hydrogen. And also the permitting entities will say that they will not see with good eyes any connection between producers and the consumers not using this green ring of hydrogen. Okay, our project is here. So once the port of Sines, our REN, which is the operator for the transmission, is investing. They also received some support from PRR on this ring, and we are so close. This is already a strong reason to decide to go to Sines. Also, Sines is the entry point of more than 95% of the natural gas that enters in Portugal. So it means that hydrogen producers located in Sines will have an advantage for any need to blend hydrogen in the national pipeline. So when this project is completed and fully operational, this project will be dispersed approximately as follows per type of taker. So to produce green ammonia, 40% will be used to produce green ammonia. All 100% of this green ammonia production will be exported to the port of Rotterdam. 10% will be used as kilowatt hours for cement. 0.5% for the data center that will be installed also in Sines, and for other list of takers, which is Repsol, Green Steel, and so on. So Indorama, all the local companies will offtake the remaining 50%. So all the hydrogen used internally will be produced by the local producers that install them internally. So to finish my, this is the IPCEI projects give extraordinary importance for what they call the project impacts and the spillover effects, which is a full list that we have presented, but I will underline this following. So decarbonization of hard to abate sectors, which are extremely hard to abate and they are extremely strong responsible for the emissions, like ammonia, cement, steel production, backup power, which is an end use currently dominated by natural gas and diesel engines. This project will also assist Europe in diversifying its energy sources, reducing European dependency in Russian gas, as well as US, Canada, and African gas. Also, the installation of this capacity, which is huge, 630 megawatts of green hydrogen, at least for Portugal, but even for Europe. This is a strong contribution for the goal for the 40 gigawatts of green hydrogen installed capacity by 2030. And now to finalize what is our shirt, I mean, this IPCEI project will strongly uplift a large scale of production of our EVO technology that, for the reasons I've demonstrated, is extremely flexible and modular, able to be used for extremely small installation and for extremely big installation. So it will contribute to the reinforcement of the European technology value chain and diversifying risks related to technology. Thank you very much. I don't know how much time I took. I tried to speak fast, but I'm finished. So I'm available for any question.
Thank you, Mr. Casolino, for the detailed information of IPCEI projects and the sharing of your projects. And now let's check out some questions from the audience. So the one for you is, in order to expedite the progress of the projects, which approach should be prioritized from your perspectives, like exploring new uses, providing subsidies, advancing technology, or developing transmission infrastructure? And also, do you think licensing is a challenge for projects like yours?
Look, they're all important. You know, the first thing, if you ask what is the main struggle here, is the main struggle is that make sure that the market considers and evaluates properly the green premium. Okay, we need the end users to consider that buying green really is important and really means something and willing to pay it. Okay, so I mean, in my opinion, we need to expedite the market trading of the guarantees of origin. Okay, so if you produce green, you will own green bonds, you'll own your green certificates of origin of the green hydrogen. And if we have a market for that operating, the market will start giving value to the green, and the market will evaluate properly the green, the value of producing green hydrogen. Okay, this is one thing to give to the offtake, to expedite a way to find good off-takers, but also the off-taking of the green origin certificates. Also, the legislation. So the legislation really needs to be reflecting and making it faster to produce green. In Portugal, we have, I think we had a good legislation already, okay, because we have approved, the Portuguese government approved something that's called the Simplex, which is a decree law vertically dedicated to make it much simpler to approve, to permit, to all the permitting, the permits needed for this kind of project. So the Simplex, if it is followed, if the law is followed, only if you are very incompetent, we will take more than 1 year. Okay, so we are all more or less incompetent. but the legislation was made based on this. Never take more than 1 year for the full permitting, okay, if it is for these objectives. And look, hydrogen is used and applied in a lot of things, in mobility, in heat, as feedstock for energy, as feedstock for industry, as a main and strategic components for ammonia, which is the base for all the fertilizers. Each end use of hydrogen needs its own regulation, its own strategy. I think the most important thing is that independently on the changes of the political color of the government, that all the European governments consider that this is a common denominator, has no political ideology, and it maintains as a mindset that it's enoughly strong for this. So I think I'm saying normal things, but underlying the one thing which is important for me is starting and make it quicker a market for the warranties of origin, because it's what reflects the value of being green.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your answer. And I think we're all looking forward to the next milestone of fusion fuel. And again, thank you so much for joining us today. We also welcome you to stay for a little while and write down the answers for questions lying in our Q&A box. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And now let's take a look at the next project. Please welcome Mr. Rafael Cabaneros, Director of Green Hydrogen Project Development and Execution at EDP Renewables, to share about progresses and milestones of their Asturias Green Hydrogen Valley. Welcome, Mr. Cabaneros. The stage is yours.
Okay, I think you are seeing my screen at this moment. I will present the Asturias H2 Valley. It's a project which is being developed by EDP Renewables. EDP Renewables is a main company, a world company producer of energy renewable, with more than 15 gigawatts in all the world. About the Asturias Valley, Asturias Valley has recognized a very mechanism of grant and financiation, like the Innovation Fund, PERTE of IDAE, Cadena de Valor and Pioneros is called in Spain, and IPCEI. Okay, regarding the IPCEI, as you know, in Europe, there are 14 European countries that have been received 37 IPCEI high-to-use projects. 7 of these 37 projects are located in Spain, and of these 7, 3 are in the EDP company. Asturias H2 Valley in the northern of Spain, in Asturias, Veramonia in Aragon region, and Grinch H2 Los Barrios in Andalusia. And this is the location, as you can see in this slide, the main projects that have been received if they recognize. The other 4 projects are located also in space in different plants. But we will continue to explain about the Asturias H2 Valley, which is more advanced project we have at this moment. The Asturias H2 Valley project has two phases. The first phase has been recognized with the IPCEI, and also has been finished the permitting, the environmental permitting, and all the permits relation with the construction and the authorization of the locality and municipality. The idea of the project is very simple, like very similar to the other projects we have been commenting in this morning. We have a plant of 150 megawatts with an estimated production of 20 kilotons of hydrogen, green hydrogen per year, and this plant will be supplied by renewable energy, approximately 100 megawatts of wind and 200 megawatts on solar photovoltaic. The idea of the plant is basically supply local industry, because in the area of Asturias Valley, in the area of the home, which is the location more nearest to the plant, there is a very, very high area, industrial area. This is the main supply, and complementary, we will have the intention to get blending in natural gas in order to get a more competitive operation of the electrolyzer. We have at this moment we don't select the technology. We can in a tendering process to select or alkaline or PEM technology, depend on the code, depend on the efficiency, depend on the warranties of the different technologies. We are open at this technology. We have the permitting pass with both technology. The total investment for this phase one of the plan is 220 million euros, and by the moment we have obtained funding about 50 million euros proceeds from the PERTE, as I commented, and innovation fund. We are pending the final definition of the IPCEI intensity. For us, it's very, very important, as Sarah Perez has commented in his presentation, because in order to know what is this quantity, what's the dates to apply, we must define the calendar and the planification of the project. For example, at this moment, the project of fusion fuel has been very perfect. What is their intensity of support for the project of the Spain? Also, we have the same importance in order to planify very well. This is the abstract of the different grants we have received. I've commented 20 megawatts of the project has been received 15 million euros of PERTE 1. For the second sub-phase of 30 megawatts and about PERTE cadena de valor, we have been received 15 million euros. For the IPCEI, as I commented recently, we don't know what is the quantity we will receive. I hope this knowledge will be transmitted as soon as possible. And finally, for the innovation fund, we have been received 18 million euros. This is the total for the phase one of the project, 150 megawatts, 48 million euros, plus the quantity of IPCEI grant. The location of the Asturias Valley is near of Gijón, in the northern of Spain, in Asturias, and very, very close to a lot of industrial points of natural gas consumers and other industries with needs of decarbonization. This is near of Avilés and Oviedo and similar. In fact, we have another project near to Gijón, near to Oviedo, is the H2 project of Soto, and the idea is to join this two projects with a internal pipe, a hydrogen, in order to get 1 gigawatt location. That is this project, this shared project of the Soto and Aboño has been received the IPCEI, the Project Common Interest of the European Union. Also, this project, both of them, has been used the regenerated water procedure of water treatment plant, more or less in the middle of the location of both projects. Then, in order to explain with some more details about the project of Aboño, the project of hydrogen Aboño is located in a site in an area near to the actual coal and blast furnace gas power plant of Aboño. This plant is actually in operation, and this plant will be in operation with natural gas and blast furnace gas. Then we share different supplies and different infrastructures of the plant. For example, power supply from the current substation. For example, water supply with the procedure of the water treatment plant and the local plant of Gijón. And the system for the different treatments and the control of contamination or similar. Also, the people of operation the plant has very strong experience about the use of technical issues and hydrogen elements. This is for us a very well considered value. That I have commented, the location of Aboño, of Asturias H2 Valley, is a very good because we have industrial valleys in the proximity, we have train and rail and road infrastructure, we have very close to the harbor of Musel, to the port of Musel, less than 2 kilometers, very proximally to a natural gas network in order to do blending, as I commented, and is in the surroundings of the H2 backbone, and because the use in the past coal is located in a just transition municipality. With more detail, this is the area for the phase one. The phase one, as I commented, has been received all the grants and has passed the permitting. Is in this area at the right of the plant, in the northern of the site, with 100 megawatts of hydrogen. This is a site totally available, with no problem with soils or other contaminants. This is ready to build, and with a COD with expectative 2026, the middle of 2026, depending on finally what is the date for the grant of trade, and the phase two, addition 350 megawatts. With COD expected more or less in 2030. Depends on the needs of the industrial valleys in the surroundings of the plant. Then this is a very simple abstract of this commenting. The start of operation of the plant of 150 megawatt will be in 2026. And the other phase for Aboño 2 will be between 2027 and 2030. And the joint with the Soto in order to get the IPCEI project with 1 gigawatt, total in Asturias will be on 2030. And with different situation of the development, what I commented. The environmental permitting has been paid at this moment. The electrical connection is secured and paid. The water is available, and for the other support public, the PC project common interest for both projects is very important. The main project advantage is that the project both of them are located in a just transition. We have developed a circular economy with reuse of the land, the buildings, the infrastructure, the personnel near of Valle industrials, and with a supply of competitive renewable energies, wind and solar. And obviously the near of the harbor, main Asturias H2 Valley, a very important location to export hydrogen in different carriers, ammonia or methanol or topic like that. Then it's also from my side very grateful for your attendance, and I be able to answer any questions you want.
Thank you so much for this illuminating speech. And now let's take a look at the question for you. One question is, what is the most valuable driver of development of hydrogen in Asturias? And what could be the biggest consumer?
Okay, thank you, Eileen. I think the most value in Asturias is the great industrial tradition in the region, with many different types of companies. For example, steel, cement, glass, and other companies like that. And the other potential is the support, very good support of the local authorities that are supporting very intensity all the development of the plan. The government of Asturias and the local municipalities are very compromised with us and with the project, and for us it's very important. Regarding to the main possibility of takers, you can see the main companies in Asturias, like Fertiberia, like Arcelor, like Lupon. There is like Trailblazing. This is a number of companies in order to supply green hydrogen in that case.
Thank you. And we're also curious on your opinion on green ammonia as a green hydrogen carrier. So what's your opinion on this?
Yes, I think it's the one of the main possibilities to export the hydrogen to other locations. The main advantage of ammonia is that the transformation of this carrier is very well known with Haber-Bosch process, and is relatively very easy to do. And however, there is another carriers like methanol or similar that could be a good choice. It depends on the final use of the hydrogen, of the green hydrogen. For example, if the final use is the fuel for ships, probably transform the hydrogen in methanol will be a better option. But in the case of you have to use the hydrogen in order to do fertilize, obviously the ammonia is the best choice. No?
Thank you. Thank you so much for a thorough answer. We believe there are definitely more to look at in Asturias, and the best of luck of all your future projects. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for your words, Eileen.
And now it's time to delve into our final topic for today's session. And let's welcome Mr. Alan Ripan-Kayan, Chief Executive Officer of AccionaPlug, to share with us the insights on the Valle H2V Navarra and how it will accelerate the decarbonization of energy-intensive industries. Welcome, Mr. Ripa. The stage is yours.
All right. So thank you very much. I would like to thank first the Leader Associates for giving me the opportunity to present our project in Navarra in this impact webinar. Before I describe the project, I would like to go through the explaining the joint venture between Acciona Energía and Plug Power, and after go through the path that we have followed since the creation of the JV to decide, where we wanted to allocate the first green hydrogen development in the Iberian region. First, just a quick presentation of the JV. AccionaPlug is a 50% JV between Acciona Energía and Plug Power. I would like to say that this is an exclusive vehicle for the development of green hydrogen projects in Spain and Portugal. And as I guess you all know, Acciona Energía is one of the world-leading renewable energy operators worldwide, with more than almost 12 gigawatts of total installed capacity in different countries. And Plug Power is one of the leaders in manufacturing fuel cells and PEM electrolyzers. I would say that for us, it makes a lot of sense to have this JV as we bring into a single platform what we think are the two elements that drive the cost of producing green hydrogen. On one side, the price or the cost of the renewable energy, of the kilowatt hour of renewable energy that needs to power the hydrogen plant. And on the other side, the investment in the electrolysis and in the whole balance of plant of the hydrogen plant. No, I would also like to say that Acciona Energía already has some experience as is participating as a major shareholder with Enagas in a pilot project in the island of Mallorca. It's a 2.5 megawatt project with a PM electrolyzer. It's a pilot project. It is now starting operations, restarting operation, I would say, and offering hydrogen to local consumers. On the other side, Plug also has put into operation a couple of months ago, a 40 megawatt electrolysis plant in Georgia, in the US, with a liquefaction technology to provide green hydrogen to the different off-takers. We are focused on different applications, from power to power, power to product, and power to mobility. And I would like to say that even though we are only initially focused on Spain and Portugal, we are open to also incorporate the joint venture in other geographies if the projects are interesting. We think that combining capabilities of Acciona Energía from the production of green energy, of renewable energy, and the capabilities of Plug Power in the electrolysis procedure and in the liquefaction and transportation, we think that we can achieve the lowest cost of production of green hydrogen in a certain location, because in our belief, the location is really important in order to drive the cost to the lowest level possible. No? I would like to just spend some minutes on what I think is the main challenge, which is what I have designed as the market transformation. I'm sure that some of my colleagues during the presentation have also made some reference to that, but just to recall, some ideas. In my opinion, right now, especially in the Iberian market, the main challenge is to try to reduce the gap between what the demand is willing to pay also and the cost of producing the green hydrogen. As I mentioned, on our side, our DNA is focused on reducing the cost the maximum of possible to try to achieve a competitive price for local demand. I would like to say that the purchase price in our side, from what we know, is defined, or the main reasons for this gap is that the purchase price is defined first from the current source of energy. If you are replacing natural gas, if you are replacing diesel or gasoline, or you are replacing grey hydrogen. In addition, the CO2 emission rise cost that industry is now facing, and there will be an additional value that is for example, in mobility applications where Plug Power has a special solution for the forklifts, replacing the batteries for fuel cells. No, then that's a certain value in terms of time and space to especially companies that are focused on logistics. That is what I think are the main drivers from the purchase price. From the selling price or the supply side, we have different drivers. No, on one side is the electricity price. If the renewable energy solution is out of the project, or if you include it, will be part of the capex. Of course, the capex related to the hydrogen plant and the logistics. Let's not forget that producing hydrogen is not the only part of the whole cost equation. You have also to distribute and to transport that hydrogen. Of course, the electrolyzer performance is also part of the drivers, and that will affect the OPEX in terms of the amount of energy that you need to consume to produce 1 kilogram of hydrogen, or the amount of water, for example. Of course, the rate of returns. We are in an environment where interest rates have increased, and therefore the requirements from shareholders are more stressed and with higher rates of returns. And also the byproduct valorization. And by this, I mean, if you can, for example, get an additional value from the oxygen you get from the process, that will contribute, no doubt, to the economics of the project. No, to try to reduce this gap and to do it as soon as possible, we think we need to do several different things from the demand side, from the governments, and from the supply side. From the demand side, I would like to to highlight to the potential of takers that this is an innovative and different product. We cannot compare this with natural gas, for example. From one side, the green energy, the green hydrogen will replace your current energy source. So at least you should be willing to pay the price that you are paying right now for your current source of energy. On the second on the list is that will avoid you from paying CO2 emission rights. So for that, you should be willing to pay an additional value for the green hydrogen. It gives you also stability in terms of we will be providing you with a long-term hydrogen purchase agreement, which will hedge you from the fluctuations of natural gas prices, for example. Also will give you shareholders comfort, those all stakeholders that are putting pressure on you to try to decarbonize your activities. And fifth, it will give you access to financial sources that right now you cannot access because you are emitting CO2. No? So for these 5 attributes, we think that the green hydrogen has a different price, and this is something that the demand needs to know and accept. No? On the government side, governments need to be clear on the country strategies with binding targets, with also penalties, and not only with subsidies, which we think are right now, at least in Spain, not enough to cover the gap. We need clarity on policies, on regulation, to be able to plan and to design our projects according to that regulation. I have highlighted accelerating permitting procedures and subsidies because it is important, and I will go through when I explain our project in Navarra. Also, the government needs to mitigate investment risk and also promote the public-private collaboration. And on the supply side, what we need to do is invest in R&D and innovative solutions to improve the efficiency of the electrolysis, which will reduce, hopefully, our CapEx and our OpEx. Choose the best location to minimize the cost of production and delivery. And this also means, at least from our side, that we need to choose locations where we are close to the demand as much as possible, but where we also have as close as possible the renewable energy solutions that will provide with renewable energy to our hydrogen plants, no? And to provide also an integrated solution and start working with the off-takers since the beginning. These are seen as the main drivers to understand the gap between the purchase price and the selling price, and what I think should be made in order to reduce the gap as much as possible. That is based on the collaboration between the demand, the governments, and the supply side. What we have done since the creation of JJB has been, we have mapped where we think we should start the development of green hydrogen projects since the beginning of 2022. We first did the first layer where we studied where in Spain and Portugal where the demand, the actual demand, and we are meaning about gray hydrogen mainly, and the potential demand for other applications. Right now in the Iberia Peninsula, the consumption of gray demand is between 650,000 tons of gray hydrogen per year, mainly focused on refineries and the production of ammonia for fertilizers and some in the steel industry, but mainly on the refineries. No? On top of that layer, what we did was do a feasibility analysis. We said, based on Acciona Energía knowledge, where do we have solar PV resource? Where do we have wind resource? Where do we have water to land availability, good communications, and natural gas network, in order to try to allocate the initial developments on the best locations that will reduce the cost of production. Over that, we put a third layer where we did analysis of what other competitors were doing and where they were doing their projects, to finally decide where we should start locating our initial developments of green hydrogen plants together with the renewable energy solutions that will provide renewable energy to those plants. Now, we believe that in order to reduce the cost of production as much as possible, our hydrogen plants should always have a dedicated renewable energy project, if possible, a hybrid project, a mix of wind and solar with a dedicated line to provide self-consumption kilowatt hours, but also, of course, the electrolyzer should be connected to the grid in order to get electricity for those number of hours where we don't have sun and wind. No? We offer two types of projects, what we call a centralized hydrogen generation project, where we try to maximize the amount of renewable energy available in that location, to try to get as less kilowatt hours as possible from the grid to avoid tolls and taxes to the kilowatt hour. And on the other side, we also have what we call on-site or distributed generation, where we do a tailor-made project for a certain off-taker that wants to consume green hydrogen. We try to do an analysis of a project to be built very close or beside the plants of the off-taker, but normally, or in many cases, as those off-takers are in industrial land, there's not enough renewable energy resource available, or there's not enough land available for the renewable energy solution. No? And we can also provide a mixed solution doing an on-site project for an off-taker, and also with if we don't reach the amount of green hydrogen to be provided from the on-site project, we can also provide additional supply from the centralized project. No? We based our decisions or development decisions in what we on the main drivers for the LCOH. No? Firstly, the CAPEX, the development expenses, and the OPEX. And therefore, you will now, I hope you understand now why we have chosen the region of Navarra in the northern Spain to start our first development in green hydrogen. This is a 25 megawatt electrolyzer capacity, expandable, scalable to another 25 megawatt. The aim of this project was initially to produce hydrogen as soon as possible in the most competitive way. And therefore, we chose this because this location, because Acciona Energía has already a biomass plant in operation since 2002. And inside the industrial plot for the biomass plant, there were 4 hectares available to install a green hydrogen production plant. In addition, we also had water available, as the biomass plant already has a water capture system and a treatment of the wastewater. So we could already use that infrastructure for the hydrogen plant. Acciona Energía also has in a radius of 5 to 10 kilometers away several wind farms in operation. So we already knew the wind resource, and we already knew how much wind we could get for to power the green hydrogen plant. We have very close access to the grid. There's a substation in the industrial area where the biomass plant is located, in less than 1 kilometer. And we also have access to the natural gas network in case we want to do blending with natural gas. No. Also, there's access by road and there's proximity to end users, mainly off-takers that can replace natural gas for green hydrogen. And based on the presence of Acciona Energía, due to the biomass plant in operation and also to the wind farms, there's a strong and stretched relationship with the regional and municipal government. No? In addition to that, I would also like to add that there's a potential for, as I mentioned, to scale up the project to another 25 megawatts because we have available land inside the biomass plant. But also there's a potential to produce e-methanol, as we can also capture the biogenic CO2 from the biomass plant to use it to produce methanol with the green hydrogen. The project includes, as I mentioned before, a renewable energy hybrid plant with a direct line to reduce the cost of electricity, and that means a solar plant of a 25 megawatt and a wind project of 24 megawatts to produce at full capacity almost 4,000 tons of green hydrogen per year. We follow the development strategy to try to accelerate the permitting process as much as possible. We did it in 2 phases. We broke or we differentiated the development of the renewable source of the solar and wind project on 1 phase, and on the second, on a different phase in parallel, we are doing the development of the green hydrogen plant. This is mainly because the development of the green hydrogen plant is faster, or can be achieved earlier than the development of the solar and the wind projects, and therefore, meanwhile we don't have the solar and wind projects constructed, we will get electricity from the grid. Nevertheless, the electrolyzer is also connected to the grid for those hours where we don't have sun and wind, and therefore we don't get the renewable energy from the dedicated plants to try to achieve the maximum capacity of production. We got from the Navarra region government, the project was declared project of regional interest that in February 2023, and that means that it will facilitate, it will get priority for the project to get all the permitting. Right now we already got the permits from the industrial department. We are about to get the permits from the environmental department for the hydrogen plant, and we think that in a couple of months, 3 months, we'll get the construction permit from the local authority, from the town hall of the municipality. Therefore, we expect to submit the project for final investment decision by the end of July or August or September, and start construction once we have passed the investment decision. I will also want to highlight that this project was presented to the second window of subsidies of the Spanish government, called Pioneers 2, and among more than 100 projects that were presented from all the projects in the country, there was the project with higher valuation, and we got 15 million of euros for subsidies. And the next slide, you have the project configuration. As I mentioned, we always think about the dedicated renewable energy supply with a direct line, if possible with a hybrid solution, wind and solar. In the case of the Navarra project, this will I didn't mention it, but provide us like about 50% of the number of hours of full capacity just from the dedicated renewable energy plant. Of course, as I mentioned, the electrolyzer will be connected to the grid. We have Plug's power electrolyzer that will be 5 units of 5 megawatt electrolysis each one, and will be the hydrogen will have different types of transportation through tube trailers. We, as I mentioned, have also the possibility to connect to the natural gas pipe to do blending, and we also have included a hydrogen refueling station in the project. No. And that's all in relation to my presentation of the Navarra project. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ripa, for your enlightening and detailed speech about your remarkable project. And let's check some questions for you. I think we're all curious about is what are the subsequent steps involved in developing the targets for AccionaPlug in the Valle H2V Navarra project? And also, what do you think are the key challenges and problems which have faced during the implementation of hydrogen projects?
Well, the next steps, to answer to your first questions, as I mentioned, the next steps for us will get the environmental permit from the regional authority that is on the way, and we expect to have that in 1 or 2 months. We just got the last report from one of the departments yesterday, which was the last element of the puzzle to get the environmental permit. The next step will be to get the construction license from the town hall or the city hall of the municipality. For that, they need the industrial permit, which we already have, and they need the environmental permit, which I mentioned that we'll hope to get it in 1 or 2 months' time. With those two, with the industrial and environmental permit, the town hall will give us the construction license. And the third item, which I think we need to go through, is, of course, the final investment decision. For that, we will have to build a demand case for the green hydrogen. We have several off-takers in the surroundings. One of them is I would say, in a radius of 10 to 12 kilometers. So the solution to transport that hydrogen will be with a specific hydrogen tube or pipe. This consumer right now can consume twice the maximum production of the 25 megawatt project, but we adjusting its boilers and engines, it can consume about 10 times more the current capacity of the 25 megawatts. And regarding the challenges, I would say, for me, everything is focused in trying to lower the cost of production as much as possible. So there are a lot of challenges around that. No, first, trying to also get the go ahead and the permitting for the hybrid renewable energy plant solution. We are talking about two important significant projects: a 25 megawatt PV project plus a 24 megawatt wind project in their surroundings. So that is a challenge already for us. In addition, I would say that also building the demand case with different applications, with different volumes, different customers, because in my opinion, depending on the applications, the euro per kilo that the demand is willing to pay is different. And therefore, we have to do a mix in order to try to reduce that gap that I was mentioning at the beginning.
Thank you. Thank you so much for informative answers and on how to address challenges during the implement of projects. And thank you again for joining us today. We believe there's more potential in this area, and we look forward to what the future holds.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we come to the end of our webinar. Once again, I want to express my profound gratitude to our esteemed speakers, Ms. Perez, Mr. Pana, Ms. Yosifova, Mr. Jukic, Mr. Fahira, Mr. Casolino, Mr. Cabineros, and Mr. Ripa. Thank you very much for bringing us so many invaluable insights. A sincere thank you also extends to our valued audience for your participation. Regarding today's video and presentation slides, we'll share them both on our official website on LinkedIn and YouTube next Monday, along with some key takeaways from this webinar. If you have any further inquiries, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at aling@leader-associates.com. Last but not least, I would like to remind you that this webinar serves as a virtual preview of our in-person event, Connecting Green Hydrogen 2024, scheduled from June the 25th to 27th at IFEMA Madrid in Spain. As there are only 2 weeks left for 10% delegate pass, we encourage you to secure your stand and be a part of this remarkable occasion. We eagerly anticipate the opportunity to meet you in person and engage in fruitful discussions. See you next time. Take care.